So I want to introduce Loren Rodgers, the Executive Director of the National Center for Employee Ownership. He is about to have his largest conference ever next week in Salt Lake City. A lot of us will see each other there. So over to you, Loren.
Great. Thank you, Anne Claire. I was thinking yesterday, Jillian McKinley, when he was speaking, he said, "Hey, everybody." And everybody said, "Hey, back." And for me, at least, it got my blood going again. So, howdy.
Hey.
Thank you. Even though we're in D.C., I wanted to make an announcement about a non-policy issue. That's not because policy isn't important. Everybody knows that. Clearly, it can do a whole lot of good. We're delighted to have Hillary here. That's an example of good policy going on. What Greg at the ESOP Association talked about, and the possibility of getting better regulations for ESOP valuations. That's good policy. But it would be wrong to go through this meeting without acknowledging one of the terrible things that's happened on the policy front, which was the impact of the day one executive order that ended most of U.S. aid. And that directly is either going to destroy or almost destroy 2 members of the Employee Ownership 100. I'm not here to make any policy judgments about things that are outside of employee ownership, whether that was a good idea or a bad one, but the way it was done was unfortunate. So let's talk outside policy. There's a lot of stuff going on in the private sector. And I want to acknowledge just a few of them because it's really exciting right now. One of the really exciting things in having Anne Claire right here and Steve Storkin always wandering around somewhere has been the percent of the population in this country that's covered by a state with a state center for employee ownership has gone from 30% to 77%. Yeah. Another innovation is Kevin right here. Well, all right, can't directly try to personalize the whole EOT movement with you, Kevin. But seeing the growth in employee ownership, trust, and direct employee ownership, this is exciting for our field. That's happening outside the policy realm. It's also been really exciting to see all the publicity that's been generated by all the hard work of expanding ESOPs to try to build a whole lot of press around this. And I'll humbly say that the NCEO, where our mission is to make employee ownership bigger and better, is also contributing to some of that policy solution. And Parman, for example, with the focus on acquisitions, we're delighted to be rolling out an acquisitions toolkit. But none of that is what I wanted to talk to you about. I begged the Aspen Institute and Rutgers to give me 5 minutes to talk about an announcement, and I am delighted to say that after both Leslie Koss and Sean Matthew teased this, that 2 hours ago, we launched a new page on our website, which is to allow certifications of employee-owned companies where a majority of the shares are held by groups of people. For example, Lewis Tree Service is a minority employee-owned business enterprise. They're the first company to receive the certification. And I think what's interesting here is if you think about a lot of companies, they have to decide whether they want to keep a minority certification, a woman-owned certification, or become employee-owned, or at least become majority employee-owned. That's been a big barrier in our industry. It's really unfortunate. It's one of the reasons that a lot of ESOP conferences in particular are really not that diverse at all. So if we want companies where the majority of the shares are held by people who are people of color, held by women, held by a combination, a certification like this is going to help get us there. So I'll give you the website in a minute. I hope you'll take a look at it. There's not a whole lot there, but it is the starting point for releasing this certification. So the difference between this certification and some existing certifications, I think Mike from B-Lab is still here, nothing like that. A bunch of you know certified EO. This is nothing like that. This is not about saying a company is employee-owned or isn't. This is about saying who the owners through the ESOP are. Now, there's some really interesting things that go into this. And it's going to grow. One of the interesting things about this is that there's a lot of room to grow. I'm delighted to say, and I don't know if Julian still is here, but a huge shout out to our colleagues at Dowie, because right now the certification, the legal work is only for companies that are 100% owned by an ESOP. But before this month is out, we're going to have language that also extends that to worker co-ops. Beyond that, right now the certification can accommodate ethnic groups as listed on the EEO1 form that almost all of you file, I'm sure. It's also available to shares held by women. But we're hoping to be able to expand that to include other groups like veterans. And the other interesting thing about doing all this is the same process that allows us to do this certification and say that 51% of the shares at least are held by these groups is really easy to expand and add zip codes. So if you think about zip codes, you can do a whole lot with that. We could set up a certified opportunity zone employee-owned business enterprise, a certified rural employee-owned business enterprise. It could be a forgotten city. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that research, but there's some great research on the forgotten cities that have deindustrialized and are decaying in this country. And there's no reason we couldn't start recognizing forgotten city employee-owned business enterprises. I want to give a huge thanks to a whole bunch of people. Sean Matthew is the genius, the extraordinarily hardworking genius behind the concrete legal language in the certification. My colleague Tim over there and I are the co-running this inside the NCEO. I think Leslie Koss is gone, but she and her colleagues at Lewis Tree have been exceptionally dedicated in helping us make this happen. Let's see, Regina is here at JP Morgan. This would not have happened without JP Morgan. And then Tommy is right back there at Kaiser. And I don't know if Laura's still here, but Tommy, oh, hey there. Tommy and Laura have been incredibly helpful in getting this in front of the right organizations and in giving oomph to this whole project. So the next steps. You can go right now to nceo.org/certifications, and you'll find background information there. Mostly, it's an intake form. If you are interested, or if you have clients that are interested, or people that you know who are interested, drop in your information there, and we'll follow up. We are delighted that this has happened. And I want to personally give a shout out to Bill Castellano. We've been collaborating with Rutgers on this, and Bill made it possible to make a lot of this get off the ground. So I just as Sean and Leslie kind of teased this and left it a little bit vague, I'd like to tease that there's one more company you'll hear from before the conference is out that's on this path towards certification. And with that, just thank all of you for helping make employee ownership grow and blossom and thrive. And thanks to everybody who helped make this particular certification happen.